Hello, everyone. Bit of a different video, really, this one, because I haven't really got anything to say. And the only thing that I want to say is what's on my mind, and that's it. Um, I'm sure you are aware that there's a lot of, you know, controversy going on within the West Ham content creating world. And, I spent a long time yesterday, giving advice to certain, people about that sort of thing. But I'm going to get away from that. I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to concentrate on anything. The only thing I want to say is today is the start of something new. For I've been in this game for a long time. I've been in this game for 10 years, and for 10 years, it's always been the same. The same people, the same hierarchy, the same statements, the same words, the same everything, the same battle every day. We've spoke for 10 years about the same things at this club every day, every single day since I've been doing this, and probably before I've been doing this. And I just want to say today it's different. It feels different because today is a day where it isn't the same. It isn't the same as it was last week. It isn't the same as it was last year. It isn't the same. We've got a new person controlling the club. Now, am I going to sit here and say I am sure that it's going to be better? No, not at all. Right? I ain't going to say that because it'd be ridiculous to say that. But today is a day that I get to speak about something, and I know what the outcome isn't going to be. As people and as fans and as football fans, we need hope. That's it. That's it. We don't know what the future holds for this football club. And for 10 years now, we've been speaking about the same thing and the same people in a different way. And today is the only day, the first day that I've got up and I've thought to myself, I've heard the Chris Kretinsky statements. I've heard, the promises and everything else. And it goes back to when the ownership took over. And obviously, we all had we didn't know what was going to happen. We know what's happened 16 years later, and we know it's all gone to rubbish. But that isn't there anymore. And today is the first time I've ever I've ever woke up as a content creator and thought, I don't know what's going to happen now. As I said before, I would be naive to feel that everything that he says is going to happen because in likeliness is not right. But what I have woke up today feeling is I feel different. I feel that there is at least a hope, a sliver of hope. And that is something I haven't felt for a long time. And that is something that as football fans, we need, right? We knew when the last regime was in charge, we knew what was coming out, what was likely to be lies, what was likely to be true, and all of that stuff. We knew what we was going to get, next season, if we was likely to struggle, if we was likely to sign the player that they said. We knew that. We knew the capabilities of that regime, and we knew that what we should believe and what we shouldn't believe. Right today, we don't know, and that's fantastic, and that is a relief. It's a time when you wake up and you think to yourself, what does the future hold? And it's exciting. We knew what the future was going to be with the last regime in charge. We've been waiting for this day to come for a long, long time. And I just want to come on here and just say, it's nice to feel like we don't know. All of this stuff with the in the know nonsense and all that, everything's going to change from now, right? So we know that the same things aren't going to be happening day in, day out. We know that the same lies aren't going to be told. We know that the same truth isn't going to be true. We don't know. And I think we should all rejoice in that fact that we are absolutely clueless about what the future holds because we knew what the future was going to hold with the last people in charge. We knew what the next day was going to be. We knew what the talking points were going to be. We knew what the likeliness of what we read was being true and not being true. David, Kretinsky said some great things, but in truth, we don't know. We don't know we don't know who he's talking to. We don't know what the likeliness of him achieving what he's saying. But that's good. That's good. A good thing. Looks like I'm only live on Twitter. Oh dear. Right, let me come off of this then. All right. Well, I'll speak to the Twitter stuff, and I'll do. But I think what we should do as a fan base is I think this should be celebrated as a um, as a day to celebrate the fact that we don't know what's going to happen. It may be better, it may be worse, but this is the first day that we can all feel a little bit different, and have a little bit of hope. But there we go. I'm going to go and do this on YouTube now. But thank you very much for watching, everyone. But that's all I wanted to say. There's nothing, obviously we know the news, and obviously, everyone's broken the news, and we all know what's going on. But I'm just saying that today is the first day I've ever felt that, yeah. Can you do that? Yeah. But yeah, today is the first day I've ever felt that I have absolutely no clue in what's going to happen in the future. And I think that's something that people should take hope in. All of these people that have had issues with this club and issues with the same people. These people are gone now. There's people that have have said that they'll never come back while this regime is in charge, and that is what is exciting me. The fact that these people may come back and see what might happen, with someone else at the helm, because we'd had enough. We'd had enough of the same people making the same decisions, and today is the only day, the first day, and it will continue now, where we absolutely don't know. And I think that is something that I take joy in, because I knew what was going to happen when David Sullivan was in charge. I knew the people that I was going to hear the same news from. I knew when I was going to be told lies and when I was going to be told things that may happen. And I knew the possibility that, what we wanted to achieve, we could achieve. And it was zero. And today is the first day that I can say, I don't know. And that is a good feeling. And I think you should all sit there and think to yourself, like, maybe, just maybe, it's worth sticking with this club, and it's worth seeing what's going to happen, because the future is uncertain. It may be better, it may be worse, but something's for sure. It isn't going to be the same. And I'm excited. Whether my excitement is justified or not, we'll see. But all I know is, whatever happens now, I can guarantee that I don't know. And that's a good feeling. And there we go. And that's it. I'm sure Dan's going to upload this to YouTube. So I'm sure you get the YouTube comments. Go to OK Jerseys. The World Cup is on. I'm going to go and watch that now. But I think you should all rejoice in the fact that the same things aren't going to be happening. This is a different era. We don't know whether it's going to be better. We don't know whether it's going to be worse. But it's time to be at least hopeful that, tomorrow may be different. And I'm looking forward to it. Even the league is different, So, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen. I'm looking forward to, discovering what the future holds with everyone else, because we knew that, and that was the fact that we knew for 10 years, we knew the likelihood of what we was going to be doing the next day. And that, talking about the same things, talking about the same people, and, pretty much sure that we knew what was going to happen. But today, we don't. Nobody does, So I'm taking rejoice in that fact. I'm excited to see what happens, and I'm excited for a possible achievement of something different at this football club. And I think you should all be the same. But there we go. Thank you very much for watching me. Sorry about I didn't upload it to YouTube, but Dan will do that now. But thank you so much, and I'll be back tomorrow if anything happens, and just be excited for tomorrow. But there we go. Thank you very much. One thing left to say. Come on, you Irons.